What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Underdog Wealth Academy. I'm really excited about our guest today. We actually just met, but I've watched a lot of Hunter's content and really admire what he's up to. So Hunter Clark is my guest today. Welcome, Hunter.
What up?
Excited to have you, brother. Yeah.
I'm stoked.
Dude, I admire Hunter so much because I feel like he's running towards something that a lot of people are running away from, which is just pornography, like as a topic. And not just porn, but just like men and people overcoming addictions or unhealthy habits, and has some really, really amazing frameworks and content that he has been sharing on his social media. And anyway, I'm really excited about this discussion today, and I think it will be like one of the most impactful episodes that I'll ever do, hopefully. So.
Yeah, it's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
So we're going to attack it head on.
Cool.
So I'm stoked.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm going to read a quick bio just to intro you so I don't mess it up.
Great.
And then we'll get into it. So, okay. Hunter Clark is the founder of Sunlight, a movement helping men build healthier relationships with themselves, especially around sexuality. After a 6-year career in door-to-door sales, leading top-performing teams, Hunter felt called to do something deeper. He realized he wanted to become the kind of person he wished he had during his own struggles with shame and addiction. That led him to create Sunlight, where he now helps men break free from porn, heal the root causes, and develop real self-discipline, not through shame, but through honesty, growth, and purpose. My mission is simple: help men create lives they don't need to escape from. So awesome. Thanks again for being here, man.
Yeah.
Tell me, so obviously, like I work in door-to-door. A lot of the people that will be listening to this, work in door-to-door or have in the past. The pivot from door-to-door sales to what you're doing now is it's a big move. Like that was a big pivot, right? And I love that you, the wording there was that you felt called to go do something different and deeper, right? So tell me about that. Like I would love to just hear about that transition from door-to-door sales to this and kind of why you, like, because I feel like a lot of people have a personal brand, but you've like made it your thing.
Yeah.
So which I respect big time. So yeah, I'd love to just hear more about that.
Yeah. I mean, I got home from my mission and, was all in on door-to-door, like dropped out of school for it, was all in. And
Solar industry, right?
Solar industry. Yep.
Cool.
And, my journey starts like many of us at 9 years old, on my little iPod Touch at,
How old are you?
1 a.m., 9.
No, but how old are you now?
Oh, 27.
Okay. Yeah. I can relate.
Yeah. And, my family and I, we just watched the first like Megan Fox movie.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Transformers with Megan Fox in it.
Yeah, where she pulls up the front hood.
The hood, yeah.
The air's blowing.
And that's like when everything shifted for me of like, oh, like girls don't have cuties.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I actually like this.
Oh, yeah, that feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like the first thing I looked up was like Megan Fox in bikinis or something like so stupid but so innocent.
So innocent, yeah.
And just for the listeners, like I do take this topic very seriously, but part of my method is involving some humor in it because humor shows acceptance, and when we can accept something, we can move past it. So
very cool.
I'm going to joke about it, but I do know it's a serious topic. But anyways, looked up Megan Fox, looked up like the word but probably spelled it with one T instead of 2 T's, and
naked person, naked woman.
Yeah, like the classic 9-year-old story, and that kind of shifted slowly into a habit, and then slowly into an addiction through high school. And I didn't know this at the time, but anytime I faced anything hard, like loneliness, a bad grade, I did something in football that I wasn't stoked about, I would always turn to pornography. It was just a way to escape because it gave me a lot of comfort, gave me a lot of dopamine.
Yeah.
And so, through high school is kind of when it shifted to more of a normal thing between the friends, like we joke about it. And the joke was always, hey, not the joke, but the thing was once we serve our missions, that's when it all ends.
Yeah, we'll hit the reset button when we go on a mission.
Yeah, you stop 6 months before your mission, and then you never struggle with it again.
Never look
right?
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as my mission approached, I realized, oh crap, I've dug myself into quite the hole here. Like I'm addicted. and tried to stop, tried everything, just wasn't getting it. My bishop was really cool at the time, and he saw that I was doing my best and like trying my hardest. And I think I got like 1 or 2 months clean before I left on my mission.
Mm-hmm.
But that was pure, just like white knuckle
Yeah.
willpower. Like
Counting days,
you know.
Yeah.
And went on my mission. They sent me down to Mexico, and I had a little walnut phone, so like not much opportunity to view anything there. And my 1 hour of internet was spent, you know, emailing friends and family, so I didn't really have an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I had solved it, right? I thought, oh, sweet, I just had to go on my mission. But when I got back and I got my smartphone in my pocket again, oh, dude, it was like 3 or 4 months later. I'm like back in the thick of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I realized I hadn't overcome it. I just had avoided it. And so at this point, I'm back from my mission. I'm like, cool. I started door to door, started going to school, but I was like, I'm never going to get married until I overcome this, was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I started dating a few girls, you know, broke up with them for this reason. Because I was like, hey, I haven't figured this out yet.
You broke up with them.
I broke up with them. I didn't tell them why, but I was like, hey, I just need to work on myself.
Yeah.
You know, and because it was, I want to overcome porn first.
Yeah.
And then, you know, a few years of that, I met my now wife, my dream girl, Sarah. And I was just like so stoked about her. She was like the one.
That's so
I
cool.
so amped on it. But I was still struggling.
Right.
And so I kind of had this debate in my head of like, I think if I get married, like, and we're able to be intimate, I think it'll just like go away. Right. And then my dad really challenged me, and he was like, hey, you need to tell her, like, before you guys get married, like, you need to have an open conversation with her. And I was like, oh, I'm afraid she's going to break up with me. And he's like, it doesn't matter. She deserves to know. Tell her.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. So I leaned into that. It was super hard, but I think it was a couple weeks into dating, like pretty soon, I told her about where I was at. And obviously she's not super stoked about it, right? As any girlfriend would be.
Yeah.
But she had a lot of empathy, which I think was really, really cool. And, you know, with some time and thought and prayer, we decided to move forward with our relationship, and we ended up getting married. And through this time, I'm going through door to door, the stresses of the summer and all this. And the first, 8 months of marriage was great. Like, didn't even think about porn. We were in the, the honeymoon phase.
Yep. It was new.
Yeah.
Felt exciting. The intimacy was, it was kind of like this new novel thing. So
great. Yeah. Not much need for escapism when you're in the honeymoon phase. But then, door to door stress really started to hit hard. We were in the solar industry, and anybody that knows, it's a freaking roller coaster.
Yeah.
And
there were some storms that hit solar
big time
a couple years ago, probably when you were in that game.
Big time.
Yeah.
And I was leading a big team and losing lots of guys, losing money. And that's when I found myself turning back to pornography to escape. And it went on like that for 2 years of just like really just struggling with pornography. I just didn't know what was going on. Like, I couldn't stop. And I, spent probably $15,000 on different courses, on different coaches, and nothing was really working for me. I was doing the spiritual stuff. I was like going to the temple, going to church, going to my bishops.
Yeah.
And there was nothing moving for me. And it wasn't until I kind of hit rock bottom that I realized I needed to make a change. And there was this one moment where my wife, at the time I didn't know this, but she was praying, asking if she should get in a divorce with me. Because, I was always open with her about where I was at. And she was like, hey, I don't know how much longer I can do this. It's not that I want to get in a divorce or that I'm threatening you with anything.
But just this isn't working.
But
like, I don't feel like I can rely on my partner in certain ways. Or
she's just like, personally, I don't know how much longer I can deal with this.
Yeah.
And we had a little Sprinter van that we like built out and we camped in, and we were driving to California one summer, and I was in the back resting while she was driving for a few hours. We were going like 85 down the highway, and there's ditches on both sides of the road. We're in a big, tall Sprinter van.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, she hits the rumble strips like hard. And I'm in the back, no seatbelt, laying on a bed in a tall Sprinter van.
Wow.
I'm like, if we go off the road,
You're toast.
Like, we're rolling.
Yeah.
I'm dead. Like, there's no chance of me surviving. And what hit me so hard was when I had that thought of like, I'm screwed. It was this feeling of relief of like, oh, I don't need to fight this anymore.
Wow.
Like, it's over.
It's heavy.
And it was like, oh my gosh. Like, usually someone in that position would be full of fear and scared, but I was just like, I feel so relieved that this is over. And she corrected. I don't know what happened, if it was a gust of wind or I don't know. But we ended up being back on the road, not crashing. And that's when I realized, like, holy crap, like, I'm
not in a good place.
Not in a good place.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because on the outside, everything was great. Like, I was the top performer at my company. I just made the most money that I ever had. On the outside, everything looked great. But on the inside, I was just, like, broken. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm either going to end my relationship and, like, be in a really dark spot, or I need to shove everything that I thought I knew about addiction off the table and start fresh. And that's what I did. I was like, I got one more shot at this. Like, we're going to start from scratch. And so I started to do tons of research on addiction in the middle of all my sales career. And I started learning a lot of things and a lot of things that were actually very contradicting to what I thought overcoming porn would look like. And one of the things was you need to get rid of shame. And shame had been like the main emotion I had felt most of my life, was just so shame. Shame, for those that don't know the distinguish between shame and guilt, shame is I am a bad person. Guilt is I did something bad, right? And I just need to readjust.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But I had like, I am a bad person.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about this at lunch. Like, I'm on an inevitable path of cheating on my wife, becoming the next Ted Bundy. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah. We were joking about that because there's two sides of the coin, right? There's the one side of the coin that's like viewing pornography in this subject, which I felt like I heard a lot growing up, which was I'm on my way to like becoming the next Ted Bundy, to totally. I'm gonna absolutely screw up my marriage if I view this one time, which is like a pretty dramatic and really unhealthy, because if you approach it that way, where it's all or nothing, if 90% of men or however many are watching it and they go mess up, like how are they gonna feel? They're gonna feel so terrible, like so much shame, and we're creating a lot of that, in my opinion. Totally. But then there's the other side of the coin, which is just this like. Pornography is a terrible thing, like in my opinion. I know I don't know, you might have different opinions on it, but it's like you use the word at lunch, it's cheap. Like, it's just like objectively it is trashy cheap, in my opinion. Like, so there's like two sides of this coin that are so interesting. So sorry, I kind of cut you off, but it's like that's the balance I think we want to have discussions on today. Is totally people need to love themselves no matter what. Totally. But then they also need to they need to better understand this subject and better understand how to go improve, so that you're not, the end goal is for sure to be porn free. Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's what I found in my research, is that shame is actually fueling a lot of what's happening. And there's a study that shows people that have shame associated with an addiction, whether it's pornography or any drug or alcohol, they're 66% less likely to overcome it than those who don't have shame. Oh, interesting. And so it's a massive gap there. And how do they measure that? I don't know. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. But it makes sense. Yeah. It makes tons of sense. So, because you're more, it's that like resist. If I do this, I'm a really bad person. It's not I did a bad thing, but it's I'm a bad person. And that's just not a healthy way to go operate in life, right? Yeah, I mean, if we look at what drugs or pornography or anything that is addictive actually is doing, is it's just raising your dopamine, right? Okay. And so if I'm in a low state because I feel shame, like I am a bad person, I am going to try to escape that place and get some dopamine. Yep. And then I'll fall back into it. And then it just becomes this shame cycle. And that's where I think a lot of
you know, especially people from Utah. Like, I think the church has done a really good job on shifting the way they talked about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, 20 years ago, it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
There was a lot of shame in it.
Even when I was growing up, it felt like a lot of my friends were watching porn and had this issue, but we felt like it was like, don't talk to anyone because, man, I am like, like I'm going to get excommunicated as a 12-year-old. I haven't even made any commitments yet, but I'm going to get ousted here.
Totally.
And so, yeah, that was unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I have seen some shifts as well, which I totally appreciate.
Absolutely.
And I'm grateful that people like you get to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Movement.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's this idea of, I mean, that's why the company that I started is called Sunlight, because we're bringing it to the light, because it's so isolated, it's so shame-based, and if we can just bring it to the light, one, it actually like heals you.
Yeah.
And so going back to my story, as I read that on shame, and I was like, okay, how do I get rid of shame? And it said, open up about it. And at this point, like, only my wife knew about it, and bishops, of course.
Sure.
But I was on a retreat with, you know, the top 50 performers of my company, and we did this meditation, and we were all sharing afterwards, and I just had this really distinct impression that I need to go up and talk about it. But not talk about it in the way that most people talk about it, like, oh yeah, like it's something like, you know, here and there in the past. Yeah. But it was like, I'm a married man, and I'm struggling with this.
Wow.
And that's how I had to say it.
Yeah, so honest.
And so I went up there, I did it, I bawled my eyes out, and a lot of guys came up to me after and was like, hey, I'm in the same shoes. And I was like, wait, you're struggling? Like,
cool.
Everything was perfect. Like, you look like you just have it all together.
Right.
And then I'm just getting all this feedback that a lot more guys are struggling with it than I thought. And the biggest thing that changed was after I got back from that trip, it was so interesting because the desire to view actually faded. And I was like, wait, I thought recovery was going to look like just resist, get your 30 days, just get your 90 days, grind it, willpower.
Yeah.
But this way I was like, whoa, I'm like not even feeling a pull to it. Like my desire to view is literally going down. And that's when I knew I was on the right path. And that's when the seed planted of like, whoa, you could actually like make a big difference in this space. Because I've been there. I know how it feels.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm like, oh my gosh. So that planted the seed. And then, you know, 2 years later of door to door, I stepped out and now I'm doing this, you know, full time.
Yeah.
And just like I learned about with shame, I've learned some other like really deep principles that have worked for me with pornography. And now I try to share that message. I try to be the guy that I wish I had 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Well, one of my favorite quotes is your best position to serve the person you once were, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, you'll see coaches coaching sometimes that have like never played the sport that they're coaching or whatever, and I'm like,
totally.
I don't want to go play for a guy like that, right?
Totally.
But the coolest thing about what you're doing is like you literally you can just go with such an empathetic way, go speak exactly to people because you know exactly what they felt and what they've been through.
Totally.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
So what, you know, I guess jumping into it, like speaking to the person that's been trying to, because tell me some percentages, some statistics on this thing.
Yeah.
Like men, I know primarily men are watching porn.
Yeah.
Myself and a bunch of friends growing up that I know struggled with it. Like it's so dang common, but like tell me some statistics. I have a follow-up question I just want to ask, but like tell me about,
dude, it's
how big of an issue is this?
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit, it's a little scary how big it is, honestly.
Yeah.
And I don't say these stats to, you know, portray more fear, but it's just where we're at currently. 4 years ago, it was 80% of men view pornography.
Men, period. How often?
That was reported monthly. Okay. Viewed monthly, and 60% of women view monthly. And that was 4 years ago, and every year it's increased.
Yeah.
What actually happened, this is kind of a side tangent, but Pornhub, the biggest website, actually got shut down in Utah, which is really good thing.
Which is great.
But that's where we were getting a lot of our data, so they haven't been able to run more studies on it.
Yeah, interesting.
So anyways, 80% of men, probably higher, 60% of women.
Yep.
30% of all internet traffic is related to pornography.
Yeah.
The average age of exposure for males is 9 years old.
Man, so sad. I have a 5-year-old, and it's just like, sign me up for the Gap wireless watches. And
Totally,
I think the first time I ever saw anything was maybe 11 or 12. But I know now that age has, of course, like sped up, and it's earlier just because technology's everywhere,
Yeah.
So if that many men and women are watching, I mean, I want to kind of focus probably on men today, because I think a lot of my listeners are in door to door. I know there's some women too, so I don't want to kind of like just speak to men, but I want to focus on that.
Yeah.
Because it's probably 80-90% of my following.
Yeah.
Whether they're 18, so a lot of my listeners are probably 18 to 30 years old.
Yeah.
Some single, some married. But they've tried. Like, they have tried and tried and tried to quit porn, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would say if you polled a bunch of people, it's like that. Not a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm super stoked about this habit that I have. It's like super healthy for me. And I have a ton of confidence. And I've like, when I wake up the next morning, I feel like a freaking baller, you know, like, so where do they start? Like, I love some of the stuff that you just spoke to in terms of how we're viewing it and just, understanding it. I think there's a misunderstanding of just like what it is. But like, when you're sitting down with someone, what's step one? What's step two? I think understanding this difference between guilt and shame you spoke to, which is awesome. I mean, just keep speaking about, speaking to that person that's going through it and just trying to better understand it so that they can make some progress.
Yeah, I think absolutely the first thing that I would say, and this is me speaking to myself 3 years ago, is like, you're not broken. Like, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
That you've been going through this. This is actually a very normal thing. Not that we're justifying it, but it's very common. And, I would say that the reason why you haven't been able to quit is not because there's anything wrong with you, but I would argue that you just don't have the right tools yet.
Love that. And
so that's where I would start. And where I would start is saying, hey, we need to get rid of the shame. And so I would ask, let's pretend I'm talking to you, and I would say, hey, Parker, what does it mean about you if you look at porn? And then you might answer like, oh, it means that I'm a bad person. It means I'm out of control. It means I'm going to be the next Ted Bundy. It means I'm going to cheat on my wife.
Right.
And it's like, no, those aren't true. Like
sure.
Those are stories that you're telling yourself. Like, there's people that have very healthy relationships with pornography.
Yeah.
But you don't. And we need to dismantle some of those beliefs that you have about yourself for actually viewing pornography. Yeah. So that's where we would start.
So it's the first step is kind of an identity thing, like making sure you understand that your worth is set as a person in God's eyes. Like, I like that.
Well, and I ask a lot of my clients, like, okay, what do you think? Whatever religious spot you're in, I would say, what do you think God thinks of you if you look at porn? Right. And a lot of guys say, oh, like, he's disappointed in me and like wants me to do better. And then I'd say, okay, well, let's imagine, Parker, your 5-year-old son, he's now 10 years old. He comes to you and he's like, hey, I looked at porn and like, I feel super bad. Yeah. How would you respond to that?
Yeah. I mean, I literally was thinking about that as you were talking, and it's like, it's hard for me to not get like teary eyed because I'm just like, that kid could not do anything.
Totally.
Nothing.
Totally.
He could do nothing to like diminish the love I have for him. It's impossible, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, I have standards. Yes, I want him to be excellent. I want him to reach his potential and do good, not bad. But it's just like, there is nothing he could do to lose my love. Yeah. Just not possible.
Totally.
So I appreciate you asking that, because it's literally what was on my mind as you were sharing that, which I think that's one of the coolest things about being a parent, is just understanding that like child-parent relationship, and just understanding like, this human's worth is so set for me. It's so beautiful, and like, they're beautiful because they are, not because of something that they've done.
Totally.
So I love that thought. So
yeah, and that's like a thought experiment I do with a lot of my clients, is like, okay, let's take out the God's disappointed in you and God has high standards.
Yeah.
And let's just focus on the love part, right? And that's kind of where we start. And then I challenge them to go tell 3 friends. 3 friends that don't know. Open up, bring it to the light.
Yep.
And what you'll find, 2 things when you talk to people about it is, one, there's a very high chance if it's a male, he's going through the same thing that you are. And now you guys can
hey, me too, accountability group.
Have open dialogue about it.
Yeah.
Or 2, if they're not struggling about it, you'll realize that they love you the same, if not more, because you're open and honest with them and vulnerable with them.
Yeah.
So a lot of my relationships have actually improved opening this part of me up to them.
Yeah.
So that's like step 1, like dismantle the beliefs, focus on self-love, get rid of the shame, and you'll see the way you know you're on the right direction or path is like what I was saying earlier, is your desire to view will start to go down.
Yeah.
And, counting days, I think, can be a metric that you use. I personally don't like to use it, because for me, it's more of, how do I feel about myself? How do I feel about the shame?
Yeah.
How's my desire to view? Am I open with my wife? Those are metrics that I would use over counting days. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Tell me about this idea of, because I think a lot of people hear that and it's like the resist issue is an interesting one with this, right? Like, because I think I've seen your stuff and it's like this idea of white knuckling and resisting doesn't work, which I would agree, because it just like it almost turns you into a little bit of like an animal. It's like there's this piece of meat that I really want and I know I got to hold off a little bit longer or whatever.
Yeah.
So like what is the mentality then?
Yeah.
Like, like how do and how should I think of pornography or just sin in general, like the dopamine that like we sometimes feel like we need as humans to go get through a day or get a little relief or whatever.
Yeah. And so that brings us to step 2. Cool. And it's finding the root of why you're turning to porn. I think so many people focus on the behavior, but they don't focus on what's driving the behavior.
Love it.
And so we dive into like, okay, let's start recognizing patterns in your life of when you're actually turning to pornography, whether it's high stress, whether it's loneliness, whether it's boredom, whether it's you just need to feel comforted, just anything. And for a lot of guys, it could be the root could be a few things. It could be either just trauma that they haven't dealt with as a young teen. Trauma can be like a ball and chain to addiction. The second thing, where I think is the most common, is guys just don't know how to process their emotions. Yeah. Like, we've grown up in this society where it says suck it up or
be tough.
Yeah.
Rub some dirt on it. Like,
So what we're saying is like, take all your emotions that you're feeling and just shove them down. Yeah. The problem with that is the more you shove down your emotions, it's like shoving a beach ball underwater. The more they're just going to explode up into a relapse or into, whatever, binging, doom scrolling. It's all the same stuff. So the second step is, let's learn how to process emotions. And the way we do that is, no emotions are bad. Anger isn't bad. Sadness isn't bad. They're all just emotions. Yeah. And emotions want to be felt. And that's it. Yeah. If you can feel them, they go away. If you don't, you shove them down and they'll explode up later. Yeah. So when we can do that, so let's say a guy has a temptation to view. Yeah. Right? He has an urge. It's what I like to say is first of all, you can. Like, it actually is an option on the table. Right. So many guys, they go into it like, oh, I can't, I don't want to, blah, resist. And then they just like go down this inevitable slide of a relapse. And then it's like, that was so stupid. Yeah. It's like, what if we just said, hey, when I have an urge, my first thought is, I can. Like, this is actually something that I can do. It's on the table. I can choose to do this. Yeah. But before I do, I'm going to take a step back and like really try and figure out like what's going on here. Yeah. What's going on in my day? What's going on in my week? What emotions am I just suppressing? What emotions are boiling up that I don't want to feel? And so if we can just take 20 minutes and go sit on the couch and just breathe and relax, journal, I don't know, do whatever.
Yeah. So it's like,
take a walk.
Like listening to that like different part of your brain that's more, like logic focused, less less animal brain, more, kind of like higher brain. Yeah. The one thought I just wanted to share real quick, dude, is I I love this idea that like the source is usually emotions and not like some like sex addiction or something, right? Like
it
the amount of
rarely
men
has to do with sex.
right. And I know there's probably cases, but I think that was like something for me when I was like a teenager, and like growing up, it's like there's this voice in your head of I have like some like there's like a systemic serious problem with me, but it actually for me is like it's a healthier way to look at it if it's tied to emotions, because
Totally.
it's just more, it's human. Like we have
Absolutely.
emotions, and so like that's my way of coping with life. It's not some like crazy genetic thing you were born with where you just like have some addiction to sex
I
or
thought
whatever,
my
right?
brain
Like,
was like, I thought there was a chemical imbalance in
yeah,
my
yeah.
brain,
And I
straight
think a
up.
lot of people probably think that way, which goes back to just like kind of how we're treating it and talking about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's a way healthy first thing to understand is like this, if I got an iceberg here, like underneath it, it's probably not like some crazy, you're like on your path to being some weird person because of genetics
Absolutely.
or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like there's 5 to 10 common emotions that every human feels, and like you just need to go figure out how to better like cope with them.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, we can relate it to food. Like people don't binge or overeat food because of food or their hunger.
Yeah.
It's an emotional thing, and that's what pornography is. It's an emotional escape, and so is binge eating food.
Right.
You're just emotionally escaping through the comfort of food.
Yeah.
And it's the same deal.
The hard thing about pornography, in my opinion, though, is like food is like the most honest reflection of the choices you're making day in and day out. Right? So like a couple months later, it's like, bro, you've been putting it down a little bit, a couple too many McDonald's runs, right?
Yeah.
The sneaky kind of crazy thing about porn is like it's less visible, which when you're the person viewing or on the other side of the coin, it's just like there's this kind of this like in the dark piece to it. Which I would argue, like when you can figure that part of your life out, like crazy confidence comes, and I actually do think a lot more of it is noticeable than like we give credit for, right?
For sure.
But anyway,
I would say the biggest thing that shifted when I stopped viewing pornography was my confidence.
Yeah.
My confidence shot through the roof.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel like I was hiding anything anymore.
When you can stand up in front of a group and just know, like, I am who I say I am type thing, that's a huge part of life. Totally. It's so big. Like, it's a really important factor for people. And so I love that. I think confidence is a huge benefit. What are the other ones? Like, what are some other things that, people that are listening that are trying to kind of go get over the hump, like, what are the main benefits? I know there's obviously like I believe there are massive spiritual benefits where you'll have the Spirit with you, and you'll feel more connected to God. There's others though. Like there's like biological benefits even, right? Which we were talking about over lunch.
Yeah, and I like to focus more on not just the spiritual, because for most guys the spiritual is what we've heard our whole life.
Yeah, we're very like. That's what we grew up learning about.
And those things are true. Like 100%. You will feel more spiritual.
Yeah, there's no question. But I'd love for you to kind of like go deeper on the other stuff.
Yeah,
like the biological benefits of giving it up.
The first thing that I felt is one, like I said earlier, my confidence shot through the roof. Absolute, just felt way better about myself. Second thing is I felt real deep connection with my wife. And not approaching this in a shame way, but pornography in a way was robbing from my current relationship.
Sure.
And so stopping that, I was able to really develop this deep relationship with my wife that I didn't think was truly possible. You won't feel as isolated. A lot
probably
of people,
emotionally and sexually, and just
emotionally,
like in all ways.
Sexually, all of it.
Yeah.
So there's so many benefits to overcoming pornography, and I think we should talk a little bit about what that actually means, overcoming pornography.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of guys have this idea of once I quit forever.
Yeah.
Like a lot of clients come to me, I'm like, what's your goal? And they're like, I never want to view again.
Yep.
And like you said at the beginning of the podcast, I think that's a great goal in the future.
Right.
But I think we should start with baby steps. And, overcoming pornography for me doesn't mean that I'm never going to view ever again.
Right.
Overcoming pornography for me just means I have control over it, and it doesn't consume me. And if I have a relapse, I go talk to my wife. I have systems when I have urges. I have systems if I have a relapse.
Yeah.
And it really just doesn't control me anymore.
Yeah.
And
It's a matter of control.
That's what it means for me, not will I ever view again.
Yeah.
So I think that changing that definition would really help someone that's trying to quit.
Right.
Because if you have the all or nothing mentality, I mean, I love what you said over lunch is you're like, we for some reason have this all or nothing mentality with pornography, but in every other area of our life, it's not that way. I mean,
you get a 99 on a test and you're a stud. And you go a month without porn and you watch something inappropriate online for 10 minutes and all of a sudden it's like, I'm going straight to hell and my wife's probably going to leave me. And, it's like, and my standards are excellence. Like I want to be so faithful to my wife and I want there to be this amazingly high level of trust, but it's like, so I have that, like, I think we all have that issue where it's like, we need to just like understand there's a perspective piece that is helpful with this topic. Which is like, are you making progress? Your trajectory is super important.
Yeah.
I think the slope, right, if you will, like, am I trending upward or downward? Like, what's my momentum?
Yeah.
Growing up for me, do you know who Brad Wilcox is? He's like he's like a general authority for the LDS Church, but his books and content was super awesome on just like forgiving yourself. And his whole thing was like, if you're playing the piano or learning to play the piano, you're going to make a ton of mistakes at first. And even experts that are like 10 out of 10 people go and pay money to watch them. I'm sure they make little mistakes along the way. It's not this like 100% thing. So I don't know. I think we need to love ourselves, be gracious to ourselves. But then there's that other side of the coin again, where it's like, there's so many benefits and we should all commit to just doing our best and trying to listen to people like you that I think are you're the way you're thinking about it and talking about it, I think is so healthy, man. And I think that we need to continue to have these conversations and move the needle in that direction where it's not this like white knuckle resist it. If you mess up one time, you're going to hell. Yeah. I think that's so healthy.
Well, and it's like, can we approach excellence? Like you said, like I have high standards. Yeah. Can we approach that without all the fear and the shame and the guilt with it? Yeah. It's like, I don't view pornography not because I can't and not because I shouldn't, not because my religion says that I can't. Right. Simply, it robs from my current relationship. It's cheap dopamine. Yep. And like, it doesn't help me become the person that I want to be.
I think that's a cool thought that you shared at lunch. Like we ate an aubergine before this, which is like, it's like a poor man's nice lunch, but
it was good.
Yeah,
I liked it.
But McDonald's is a lot cheaper than aubergine, and it's like I can go choose cheap dopamine, or I can choose quality, and
that aligns with your goals. Yeah, right. Like that today, our meal like aligned with my fitness goals.
100%.
If I went to McDonald's dollar menu, that would not have aligned with my my physical goals. Yes. And then, so the last step that I have to, help guys break free in a way where they don't even feel like they're trying is step into creation. And we were talking a little bit at lunch where this might be a little woo-woo for some people, but, there's actual fighters and professionals who do this thing called semen retention, where they retain their seed for their matches, for all these big things. And if we think about what our sperm actually is it's actually creation energy. It's the only thing that creates life, really. Yeah. And so for me, that energy is very sacred for me, and I don't want to just waste it away. And so I want to either use it to connect with my wife, or I want to use it to create my business, to create
that's cool
performance in sales, to do all these things. And so for me, it's not, I have an urge to view porn. It's like, it's not that I can't, not that I shouldn't, but like, I don't want it to take away from creating. And I want to create a life that I feel proud of. And
I think that I love this concept of like create versus consume. And porn viewer is literally a consumer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but like you could take something that's neutral, like social media, and you could create content on social media that's like beautiful and super rad, and it's impacting a lot of people as a creator.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can take that same neutral kind of thing and go consume and go down a wrong path. Like, I think that's such a cool thought of like, how do I go lean into creation in life?
Yeah.
And not consumption. I've heard about this. Like I've heard about fighters. I don't know where I've heard that, but like trainers and coaches will like optimize their athlete and make sure that they're not like sleeping, even like that they're very selective with like what they're doing in terms of their sex stuff before they go. And so that's
it's
really
like
interesting.
if you're a door-to-door rep and you're in the middle of freaking what's like the butt crack of Iowa or something, I don't know, just in some hotel,
right?
It's Tuesday night.
Yep.
It's like you have the urge to view porn. Instead of saying, oh, I shouldn't, I'm a bad person if I do, just be like, hey, what if I just like held on to this for a sec and like just saw the difference in my performance, and then base my decisions off of that rather than I can't because religiously I shouldn't or spiritually I shouldn't, but just like, let's just experiment with the performance a little bit.
I think it's cool because it just gives you another why. Like, the bigger the why, the easier the how. And
totally.
Like if you can stack up a bigger list of whys, like, because some days the spiritual argument might be the thing that kind of helps you push forward, but other days it's like,
absolutely.
It can be, if you're working in summer sales and you're trying to be a killer and be a big time producer, like your confidence, if you want to go sell more, how about working on your confidence as a person? Like, that's not going to hurt you. I promise you that. Right.
Totally.
One of the last things I want to ask you about, which I've seen a video, I've seen you talk about this subject and I'm like so intrigued by it, but, testosterone. So like for men, you've like doubled or tripled your testosterone in the last little while. I'd love for you to talk about that. And I think I heard you say in a video, it's not so much like the actual quitting of pornography that you felt like ramped it up, but it was just like the under the iceberg emotions that you felt like you've like, not mastered, but like become way more proficient in. So I'd love for some thoughts on that. Cause testosterone's like a kind of a popular,
oh dude, it's a big deal
topic right now.
I mean, it is like your hormone, like your performance hormone, truly. And so, the whole rave about testosterone was going on. It started a couple years ago, and I decided to get my levels checked, and I'm at like 280 at 26 years old.
That's super low.
Super low. Yeah. For those that don't know, you want to be like 400 to 800, and like I'm a healthy 26-year-old male at 280, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. Wow.
And so, the guys at the clinic are trying to sell me on the needle, and I'm like, I just don't, it doesn't feel right because it feels like a Band-Aid solution. Yeah. Because like my body, if I'm healthy, should be naturally producing testosterone.
Sure.
And so I decided not to get on the needle, and all the practitioners were telling me like, hey, you can go naturally and like try to boost it naturally, but you're only going to be able to double it 15 to 20%, or sorry, increase it 15 to 20% naturally. So even if you did at 280, you're going to be sitting at like 350, 400, and that's still like super low. Right. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it for, a year and a half and like see where I land. And, a couple weeks ago I got tested and I was at 680. So
that's amazing.
138% increase, crazy. More than doubled it.
So what's your, that's amazing. That's really, really cool.
And I didn't take, it wasn't supplements. It wasn't anything truly. It had a lot to do with pornography. And like you said, it wasn't so much about quitting porn, but it was the way I viewed myself about porn that I really think made a big difference. Interesting. Is I felt so bad about pornography and what I was doing and stress. And, when that happens, you raise your cortisol, and cortisol is a natural testosterone blocker.
Yeah, so throws a blanket on it.
So I was suppressing my own testosterone by the way that I viewed myself because I was looking at pornography. And so as I changed my relationship with pornography and changed the way I looked at it, and if I had a relapse, I had systems and processes in place. It didn't mean anything about me. And then, a year and a half later, I more than doubled my testosterone. Yeah. I feel amazing. And that's like a message that I'm trying to throw out to all these guys is like, the answer isn't I mean, for some it might be get on the needle, but to me it's more of an internal thing that needs to be fixed than an external thing. Yeah. Obviously, if you're, unhealthy, if you're overweight, if you're drinking alcohol, those are all testosterone blockers for sure. But if you're not doing any of that stuff and your testosterone is still low, that's where I would challenge, the internal stuff to take a deeper look into it.
Yeah, that's cool. Really interesting topic. I think that's, again, like we're talking about performance and especially like if you're trying to go put on muscle and all that stuff, like having higher testosterone stacks the deck in your favor big time. But a lot of people don't think about a topic like that linked to it.
Oh,
which is really interesting. So,
dude, I know we're closing, but like the testosterone rates are lower than they've ever been right now. And
which probably affects fertility and a lot of things, right?
Absolutely. And I truly strongly believe it's more of an emotional thing than anything else.
Yeah. So that's a hot take. I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I mean, not because I'm, Andrew Huberman, but just from what I've seen in my personal life.
Yeah. Well, success leaves clues, and you just went and that's your story, right? So that's really cool. Well, I think what you're doing is amazing, man, and I admire it big time. I'm in your corner, and like I want you to know I'm cheering you on. And I think there's just having worked with probably thousands at this point of 18 to 30-year-olds, I know how much of an issue it is, and it's something that I just think we misunderstand, right?
Absolutely.
Like we just misunderstand what it is. And what I'm excited about with this topic, which sounds kind of weird because it's not like it's not a very like it's something we need to figure out. But what I am excited about is it feels like we're making progress. Like it feels like from when we were, so I'm 32 now, but from like 12 to 20, it just felt like, man, we are like the generation above and older than us is like so not in the loop on like what this beast actually is.
Yeah.
What I'm grateful for is like we're now the generation, me and you, where we get to go be dads to children that are inevitably going to go deal with this thing.
Absolutely.
And probably at a way gnarlier clip than we even did with AI and all sorts of stuff, right? And so love that thought of just I love them no matter what, but I want them to be great, and so I need them to understand what this thing is, and it's not so much tied to some sexual addiction, but it's really tied to managing your emotions, which is like that is the human experience is figuring that out. And so what a cool thing that we get to go kind of help the next generation with that. And I just feel like our group hopefully should be, I think it's our responsibility to be more empathetic, knowing what it actually is.
Absolutely.
So anyway, Hunter does this full time, and like, if you're listening to this and I do think you spend your time and your money on things that you actually value, right? Like, sure. And if this is something that you value is getting your confidence back, getting your habits need to be aligned with where you want to go in life. Like if you want to go score some touchdowns, like you got to go move the ball down the field and do things that allow for you to go have success. And so I'm a big believer. One of my favorite concepts is Who Not How. One of my favorite books I've read within the last year or so. And if you want to go do something and you're having a hard time in that area of your life, sometimes finding a who or a person that's like got that topic or that subject figured out can help a ton.
Absolutely.
So having strategic partners that can help you go and accomplish that. And I hope that you can be that guy for a bunch of men listening to this that want help with that.
That's the goal.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I have a program, just follow me on social _hunter.clark, and would love to help you out. And if not, I post a lot of free stuff. And, again, I'm truly just trying to be the person that I wish I had. And so that's what I'm going for.
Love it, man. That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I'm excited to continue to get to know you and hopefully become really good buds. And again, I admire big time what you're doing, man. So
stoked. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Cool. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for joining.